You're watching the SCAC Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving Media Days. Today it's time to take a look into the Trinity University Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving program. The Tigers, of course, coming off successful seasons in which the men took home second at the SCAC Championships and the women took home first for the remarkable 16th year in a row. Trinity will be led once again as they head into the season by head coach Scott Trompeter, along with sophomore Daniel Sarman on the men's side and junior Mabel Fowler on the women's side. Coach, Daniel, Mabel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Coach, we'll begin with you going into your third year as the head coach of both of these programs. It's the start of a new season with lots of hard work, obviously, ahead. But what do you love about this time of the year? What makes this part of the year special, just getting everyone back into the pool?
So this year's, I feel like, a little bit different than years past. And I think we were just discussing that a little earlier, just how it feels as if it's later on in the season already, just because of where everybody came back this season. This has been something we've been trying to put in the works for the last few years, but just basically cultivating an atmosphere where people want to swim over the summer and train and compete over the summer, so when they come back, they're ready to go. And this year, I feel like, was a really good summer for our team in the off season. So when they came back, they were really prepared, and we were able to start off where I feel like we were about 3 weeks ahead of where we were the past couple years.
Mabel, you've had a huge impact on this program in the pool your first couple of years there in San Antonio. But, this year as a junior, an upperclassman, have you seen your role change a little bit entering your junior year? Do you feel like you're having to kind of shoulder a little bit more maybe leadership responsibilities than in the past?
Yes, definitely. It is weird saying that I'm a junior and not a sophomore anymore. But this whole year I felt as a more leadership position being a junior, but it hasn't really put any pressure or anything. It just feels fun, and having girls to swim with and just being the leader, and it feels nice to be able to guide people because I have been here for a few years and I know how things work, so it's been really nice.
Daniel, similar for you, coming off an all-SCAC performance and year last year as a freshman. How did that year sort of build your confidence, and what's been the biggest difference you've noticed kind of from year one to now making that jump into year two in your sophomore season?
It's interesting because I know what I'm capable of, and I also know what it takes in practice to be able to perform at meets, whether it's at a random dual meet in Alabama or at our conference championship. I feel like it's helping me a lot knowing that the work I put in the pool and how much I focus on what I'm doing leads to actual performance. And it isn't just random like, oh, this week I tried a bit more and I did better. It's this week I worked in underwaters every single day, thinking about pushing off to 15 meters, and that's what made me better. It's focusing on the little things I feel like has benefited me the most.
Coach, last year you made it clear to me that every year you've been at Trinity, your athletes have stepped it up in terms of their training. Each year they've brought more and more energy as you've continued to instill the culture that you're instilling there in San Antonio. Is that still ring true this year? What have you seen from your athletes early on that kind of gives you energy and gives you excitement heading into the season?
So like I said earlier, just the summer was phenomenal, and we had a lot of people competing where we hadn't had in years past. As always, the freshmen are coming in super fired up, in really good shape, and they're pushing the upperclassmen. And it's just every year, like I said, it's been getting better, and this is the same this year. We're coming in off a really good summer. We're able to elevate the training a little bit, and the response to it has been really positive, really positive. So the vibes at practice are upbeat. Everybody's focused on just what they have to do to get ready for the end of the season already. And so far this is usually a really tough time because, midterms are coming through, halfway through the semester, starting to get cold. This has been still a really positive part of the season. And I just think that everybody's in a better place than we have even been in years past. And just like I said, motivation is really high. And I think the team's camaraderie and support is better than it's ever been as well.
Daniel, I mentioned your all-conference performances last year as a freshman, winning the 200 backstroke, finishing runner-up in the 200 IM and the 200 free. How were you able to sort of use those performances to springboard you into your offseason? What did that offseason look like over the summer as you trained and prepared to make sure you were as well ready as you could be heading into this sophomore season?
It showed me that sheer effort won't get you enough. I lost 2 races I should not have lost because I did not focus enough on little details and things that were more important than I thought they were. And so it made me want to focus on the little things more. So 3 days after conference, I was swimming again and working on technique by myself at 6 o'clock in the morning because it is not fun to lose. And so it's those little things, like every single day I'm constantly thinking about my stroke more and more and realizing that it isn't just how hard I try in this one set, it's how hard I try and warm up to correct my technique. It's how much I recover afterwards. It's a whole culmination of a lot of things that really ties up in the ultimate performance.
Mabel, individually, already 5 SCAC titles through your first couple of years there at Trinity, including last year winning the 2 and 500 free, as well as the 200 backstroke. What has your off season looked like? How do you continue to motivate yourself, specifically in the pool, to make sure you're as prepared as you possibly can be heading into this junior year?
So last year was the first time that I was able to go to nationals, and it was a crazy experience. I learned so much. My eyes were open to a lot of things, and one thing that I really learned from that experience was confidence in myself, and I've carried that out throughout the whole summer in my training, and I got a chance to do some really cool training over the summer at USC with some big names, big titles, and that kind of just put into perspective for me like what I need to do and how I can be better. And like Daniel said, the little things are extremely important. Being a junior this year, I realized I only have this season, and next season I'm done with swimming. So that hit me pretty hard in thinking like the execution that needs to be done to have the goals that I want to needs to be put in now. So that's what I've been working on throughout the summer and throughout the beginning of the season.
Coach, I always, one of the things I appreciate about swimming and the uniqueness of it is, the team that will be swimming in the pool at the beginning of the season, more than likely will look a lot different at the end as far as the progression and the way that tapering and just kind of the way that the season unfolds. What are certain things that you look for early on in the first month or so, the first couple of meets, that will give you confidence that this team has the ability to take that progression and take those steps to be where you want to be when it comes to championship season?
So the goal is just to take as much guesswork out of it as you can. We meet with every swimmer individually at the beginning of the year. We talk about controlling the variables. So they lay out their goals to us so we can have an idea of where we're going to be standing moving forward, what events they want to focus on, and we just lay out a plan of how we're going to get there. And a lot of that is going to be about, like I said, controlling the variables and figuring out, every day in practice, how do we get one step closer at going these goal times or having this goal and achieving it. So the idea is we come into practice and every day, we lay out goals for the team and for the group, but individually they should be having goals for themselves as well. So if we do a set, they have something that they should be focusing on, they know they should be, and that's going to help them achieve whatever they want to get at the end of the year. And if you're able to do that one day at a time and just keep every day using that as an opportunity to get better, and I know that sounds really cliche, but it's something that we really pride ourselves on and try and focus on throughout the season. And if you do that every single day, the results are going to be there at the end. And the goal is that we want to be the best we can be even on our worst day. And if you do that and you try to put everything together and work on it every day, those variables, you're going to see a lot of good results at the end.
Finally, to wrap things up with both the athletes, as you two have had discussions with your teammates and the season has sort of begun to get underway, what are some of the goals that you and your teammates have, and what will be key in ordering for you and your teammates to accomplish those heading into this season?
As far as the girls' team side, always the freshmen bring a new atmosphere onto the team, and this year the freshmen have really done well in doing that. Like Scott said, the training has really elevated, and just, our locker room talk, I guess, has gotten more fun, and just rallying before even our first inter-squad meet was really, really fun. Just the atmosphere of the girls, and we're really focusing on positivity and just really uplifting each other on everyone's races and just keeping, I guess, a positive atmosphere as a team.
Yeah, on the guys' side, it's really been interesting. The freshmen came in really not wanting to lose their first conference, which is so refreshing because I love to hear that. And they were just so confident in themselves that as long as we all try and do our best every day in practice and focus on things we have to work on, there's no way we can lose, which is awesome. It's a great mentality to have. But then the best thing is they're not just saying the words. I've seen every single person on the team in practice red in the face, about to throw up because they're trying so hard. And it makes me a lot more confident for a season than it did last year. Because last year there'd be times where you'd have people doing amazing performances in practice, but then 70% of the team was just being mediocre that day. And now it seems like almost everyone is trying every single day to win at least one thing and be the best person they can be in that moment.
Coach, finally to wrap things up with you, you kind of talked about sort of the goals and the process that you have with your team. I guess now I want to ask just about you as you head into this third year. What are some of the goals that you kind of have for yourself that you hope to continue to improve at as a head coach of both of these programs that you think ultimately will strengthen both of these teams and allow everyone to kind of accomplish those goals as this season unfolds?
I mean, I know it's a continuation year after year, but just like I said, cultivating that culture that we want, that winning culture, and that's kind of where it has to start. If you have the team, thinking about the right things, carrying the right mentality into practice, and even outside of the pool, that's where the job gets really easy. And if we can get to a place where all of our athletes are looking out for each other. Self-policing, just supporting each other, like I said earlier. The rest of it pretty much downhill. We don't have to think about much or really hold their hands to get through sets or do the right things outside of the pool. At that point, everyone's looking out for each other, and it's just a machine at that point. So that's what we're trying to get to still. Every year we've gotten closer, and I think this year is by far the best we've been in that department.
The Trinity University men's and women's swimming and diving programs. Again, the Tigers will be led as they head into the season by head coach Scott Trompeter, along with sophomore Daniel Sarman on the men's side and junior Mabel Fowler on the women's side. Coach Daniel, Mabel, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.